Great. Hey, thank you so much for being here with me today. Really appreciate it. My name is Bob Ferguson, Attorney General for the state of Washington, and we're here to announce an important resolution on a investigation we've had with Amazon that's been ongoing now for a couple years. And first, I'm just going to start by saying that I think as a parent, my wife and I have 11-year-old twins. I think it's fair to say that any parent, when they are shopping for their children, expect that when they're in the marketplace and making purchases, that the school supplies or the jewelry, for example, that they are purchasing for their children are safe. And concerns we had in the marketplace, specifically with Amazon, prompt investigation, which I'll talk more about, and that's led to a resolution that we think will better protect children in the marketplace, and specifically with Amazon, and we hope for others as well. So we're here to announce today that Amazon will commit to legally binding nationwide corporate reforms after my office found dozens of children's school supplies and jewelry sold on its marketplace had illegal levels of toxic metals. My office, and I want to emphasize, has been in partnership with the Department of Ecology. I'll introduce a few scientists shortly from the Department of Ecology who have played a key role, to put it mildly, in this effort. This partnership has found that some of these children's products had illegal levels of lead and cadmium. These metals are toxic and can have serious effects on children's health and well-being. Thanks to our investigation, Amazon will no longer allow toxic children's school supplies and jewelry in its marketplace. So I'm going to do a number of introductions here quickly. So I'm going to actually start with the folks from the Department of Ecology who are here. These are three scientists with the Department of Ecology who played a key role in the testing, which I think I'll be talking a little bit more about, and that they can speak to in more detail as well. But joined by three scientists with Ecology, Jessica Archer, Sarah Sakarik, and Tina Schaefer, who all played a key role in working with members of my team from my Consumer Protection Division and my Environmental Protection Unit on bringing this investigation forward to the conclusion that we reached here today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the investigation that we've done, how our resolution better ensures that Amazon will no longer be selling these products, and to better protect children, not just here in Washington State, but across the country, and then we'll take any questions that you might have. So our investigation started in 2017, and I just was chatting with Bill and Kelly and Aurora from my team on the environmental protection side about, hey, how we got started on this. And we created an environmental protection unit in our office in, Bill, October 2016. Bill's the lead of that. And this was really one of the first initiatives that they brought to my attention, of something that we were interested in, something that the Department of Ecology had spent some time looking at, and that we wanted to begin doing some testing on this front. So we started in 2017. And as I mentioned before, in partnership with the Department of Ecology, we tested dozens of children's school supplies sold on Amazon's marketplace for the 2017 shopping season. The types of children's school supplies we tested, just to give you a sense of what we're looking at: pencil pouches, backpacks, lunch boxes, book covers. We've had some images here as well of the types of things that we're looking at. Importantly, these items were specifically marketed to children, so we were focused on that. So for example, they had cartoon characters, they had plush exteriors, they had bright colors. They were clearly targeted for young children, like the age of my kids. That's what they were looking for. We discovered that more than half of the products we purchased and tested contained high levels of lead and cadmium. One thing I'll just want to emphasize is, and we'll give you the numbers shortly, the numbers that tested positive, we were specifically looking for products that my team, Ecology, felt might violate the law. We're happy to answer questions about kind of what led us to those products, but in terms of the numbers that we'll be talking about, these were products we thought might be problematic, and we focused on those. As I'm sure you all know, high amounts of these metals, lead and cadmium, are dangerous for children. Lead can cause a variety of neurological problems in children, as you well know, and in very high levels, these can lead to organ failure and even death. Cadmium is a known carcinogen. The Washington Children's Safe Products Act and the Federal Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act prohibit levels of lead and cadmium exceeding certain limits in any accessible component of a children's product. So under federal law, lead cannot exceed 100 parts per million. Under Washington state law, cadmium cannot exceed 40 parts per million. So these are just specific criteria that folks know about. This is the law, and you can't exceed those. It's pretty straightforward. The products we found exceeded one or both of these baselines, so these products are illegal. We completed 2 rounds of testing targeting products that our office and ecology suspected may contain these toxic metals. So in our first round, I'll walk you through sort of both rounds of testing. In the first round, we tested 43 products, and we discovered that 16 of the 43 products tested positive for these illegal levels of lead and cadmium. So as an example, one Spider-Man pencil pouch had more than 40 times the legal limits on lead and 23 times the legal limits on cadmium. We then notified Amazon of our investigation. We requested, which we routinely do in our investigations, we made a demand for additional documents. We were interested, for example, in determining whether or not on the products that were sold, did the entity selling the products have certificates showing that they've been tested for lead and cadmium. So we asked for information from Amazon. We asked for the numbers of the products and how many were sold. Amazon then pulled those products from their website in the summer of 2018. We then tested a second round of products later on that year in 2018 to determine whether any additional products posed a threat to Washington children. This time, we tested 41 products, 35 of the items we purchased, including products that were supposed to have been removed from Amazon.com, had illegal levels of metals. So the total numbers that we tested between those 2 tests were 84 products, of which 51 were illegal and tested too high on these metals. To give you an example of the types of products, a stuffed animal pencil pouch that we tested had approximately 8,500 parts per million of lead. That's over 80 times the legal limit. So, at the risk of overstating the obvious, these products weren't just missing the mark by a small amount. In some cases, they're missing the mark by a very significant amount. That is deeply concerning for children's health. Another pencil pouch contained more than 35 times the legal limit of lead and nearly 29 times the legal limit of cadmium. We again notified Amazon of what we had found, and we also notified Amazon that we now intended to test children's jewelry that would go to another set of products after having gone through school supplies. Amazon independently confirmed that certain children's jewelry sold on its marketplace had high levels of toxic metals, including bracelets and necklaces. Amazon found that one bracelet contained more than 11,000 times the amount of cadmium allowed under Washington state law. So at this point, we, as a team, talked about what we were looking for in a resolution with Amazon if we were going to not proceed with litigation, if they wanted to avoid litigation. Number one was having the products pulled from their website. We had that done. Number two, we were seeking a refund to any customers who had purchased these products, obviously. Number three, Amazon needed to create a process that would ensure this does not happen again. And that was an important part of negotiation for some time. And number four, that Amazon needed to write a check to the state of Washington so we could fund these efforts working with our partners, Ecology, and folks in my office, Consumer Protection, the Environmental Enforcement Team, to continue this work going forward. So those are the four things we're looking for. So the products were pulled. We then asked Amazon to immediately identify and refund all consumers who had purchased these products. So in response, Amazon then notified purchasers of the issue and refunded their purchases in late 2018 and early 2019. Just to give you a sense of how many folks that was, Amazon identified that consumers nationwide purchased more than 15,000 of these products that exceeded the legal limits of lead and cadmium. So refunds were issued. Those refunds totaled approximately $200,000 to those consumers. About 600 of those purchases, of those 15,000 products, about 600 of those were purchases made that went to Washingtonians, made here in Washington State. At our request, Amazon also contacted the Federal Consumer Product Safety Commission to initiate a recall of the illegal items. So as a result of that investigation, Amazon has removed those products. Some products were removed in the summer of 2018, All products found in both rounds of testing were removed early this year. Today's resolution also requires Amazon to solve the problem of toxic children's school supplies and jewelry. So this morning we have filed in King County Superior Court a legally binding agreement. We call it an assurance of discontinuance. You see these fairly routinely in sort of the consumer protection setting, for example. So we have filed a legally binding agreement in King County Superior Court that Amazon signs, that we sign, that binds them to the commitments that I'll be talking about here in a moment. So specifically, all sellers of children's school supplies and jewelry must now, moving forward, submit a children's product safety certificate. They have to show that they have tested these products for lead, for cadmium, for these illegal levels of metals that can harm children. They have to have that certificate done and provide that. This certificate is required of all manufacturers and importers of children's products and provides accredited lab testing confirming these products do not contain illegal levels of lead and cadmium. Any current or future seller cannot post their products for sale in the marketplace until they provide this information. If Amazon finds that any children's supplies, school supplies, or jewelry have lead or cadmium that are too high, it will discontinue their sale and distribution. I think it goes without saying that my office and the Department of Ecology will continue our efforts in this regard. And that's not unusual. If we do an investigation of this type and find problems, we enter into agreement like this, but we continue to test, and that's what would be going on here as well. In addition to these measures, Amazon will write a check to the state of Washington for $700,000. Those are funds that I intend to use to work with our partners at Ecology to continue testing with Amazon or others as well as appropriate. Just a final thought, then we'll take your questions, and members of my team may help if you have questions specifically about the testing part of it. I may turn to the scientists at Ecology who went through the actual testing of these products. I think we live in a world of heightened awareness of the challenges of toys, school supplies, I should emphasize rather, and jewelry with our children. I found, the numbers of school supplies and jewelry that violated state and federal law to be deeply concerning, to put it mildly. We do appreciate that Amazon cooperated with us to reach this resolution. We feel that's important. But I think it's also fair to say that anyone who is selling school supplies, anyone who is selling children's jewelry should know that the Department of Ecology, under the leadership of Maya Bellin and my office, with the folks in my office who are here, are focused on this issue. This is not the end of the conversation from our standpoint, and we trust that this sends a message to folks who sell these products that they need to ensure that these products are safe for children. Children are old enough to understand the dangers in these products. They see Spider-Man, they know what to do with Spider-Man, go play with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's cool, right? They see cool-looking items, you know what they're going to do with them. They're going to interact with them, they're going to play with them, they're going to hold them, they're going to chew on them, they're going to sleep with them, right? I probably shouldn't say, my kids are now 11, as my colleagues know, I probably shouldn't say, but hey, my kids are still, when they go to bed at night, they've got their stuffed animals, they've got their friends with them at night, lots of them. And so that's how kids interact with school supplies. That's how they interact with jewelry. These things are important to them, they interact with them, and having these harmful metals embedded in these products needs to stop. It's too prevalent, and we hope this action sends the right message, brings some important changes to Amazon, which has a huge influence, a huge role in this area, and we hope it sends the right message across the state and across the country as well. So with that, we're happy to take any questions that folks have. Yes?
Did you notice any trends in where these items were coming from? If this is already mandatory state law exceeding the legal limits, why were they here in the first place? Where are they coming from?
In terms of where they're coming from, sort of geographically, meaning like
Yeah,
what?
Where are these items manufactured and why are they here?
Yeah, so
why were they offered here?
So just repeat, so if we think there are some folks on the phone, so I'll repeat. If anyone helps come answer the question, if you can just identify yourself as well, so folks on the phone and for the folks here. So the question for those on the phone was, hey, where were these products coming from? And can anyone speak to that?
Yeah.
Go right ahead and just introduce yourself, Bill.
So my name is Bill Sherman. I'm the unit chief of the Council for Environmental Protection Unit of the Washington State Attorney General's Office. What we found is that in particular these products are made in China, and in particular they're sold by third-party sellers on Amazon's platform. And so in that way, it's that kind of direct seller to purchaser relationship that goes around what might otherwise be a retail store's decision to control their inventory.
Other questions? Anyone online have any questions for us? If not, final call for questions. Yep, you fire away.
Oh, lots
Yeah,
of
go for it, fire away.
questions.
Jump in, yeah.
So were these products mostly sold to individuals? Were they sold to school districts? Who were they sold to?
So the question is, how are the products, so who are they sold to? Individuals, school districts, or both? So who would like to, so this is Kelly Wood from my team. We'll speak to this one.
Yeah, so we asked Amazon for specific information about the consumers that purchased the products. They were a bit reluctant to provide addresses and personal information of their consumers, which was understandable. But we did get zip codes and other information we could use to identify where the products wound up. We would assume, because most of these purchases, we got quantities along with each purchase, so we could see how many folks bought each individual item. The vast majority of these sales were single sales which we assume are to individuals.
Yeah, no.
Go fire away,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of this action, is it safe to assume, or safe for parents to assume, that anything now geared toward children,
Mhm.
marketed toward children, is safe from lead or cadmium because of this action?
Just make sure I'm remembering. So you're asking, is it safe for parents in making purchases of school supplies or jewelry that those products are safe? I mean, I'll give you my answer in part as the Attorney General, in part as a parent, right? So it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think safe to assume is too strong, number one. What I would say is that with Amazon specifically, we think these are the right steps to better ensure that those products are safe. But I think Amazon understands that we'll continue to test. Number two, it's a big marketplace out there. Bricks and mortar, online, you name it. So no, I would not say, how about this? I'll just speak more directly. As a parent, this has heightened my awareness of the issue. Obviously, I was always aware of it, right? But has heightened my awareness of it. I'll be chatting with my wife Colleen about it, you can be sure, right? And I will be looking for, is there a certificate before we make a purchase for an item that our children will be interacting with? Is there a certificate that shows this has been tested? I think that would be a baseline step that we would take. Others may want to jump in if there's additional things that parents should do. But no, I would not say that parents, it's safe to assume that a product for your child is safe. I would look for a certificate that it has been tested specifically. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. Notwithstanding that we were focused on products that we thought might be problematic, but the majority of the ones we tested were problematic. That should be a red flag for any parent. Anyone want to add to that, by the way, in terms of, Bill, do you want to add to that?
I think we could probably say one other
Yeah.
thing. So I think we'd want to emphasize that, this resolution deals specifically with Amazon. So it doesn't deal with the marketplace as a whole, and it deals specifically with children's school supplies and children's jewelry. And like the Attorney General said, one of the critical things for our office in working with Amazon toward this resolution was making sure that Amazon was undertaking affirmative steps to keep their marketplace safe for consumers of these products. The steps that they have committed to are substantial. They are a true step forward, and shoppers can feel more assured now than they could have before this agreement, that the products, that the children's school supplies and jewelry sold on Amazon are going to comply with limits on cadmium and lead.
What's the seal going to look like, and when does it need to be on Amazon's website?
Well, when does the certificate sort of need to?
Yeah, I mean, what are practical information for a parent when you're
Yep.
shopping for your kid says, hey Alexa,
Yep.
I need a new book bag.
Good point, yeah.
What
Yep.
should they be looking for to make sure that it's approved, it's been tested?
Yeah, so luckily with this resolution, the consumers shopping on Amazon won't have to do that. So Amazon, the process that they're implementing is going to ensure that the products, before they're even listed on the site for sale, have the people that are selling those products have provided those certificates to Amazon. And so when that testing's done, that should go, as Bill said, a long distance towards helping keep these products off Amazon's website. So,
But again, just to reemphasize, and the point that we're making is that it is a big marketplace out there. Amazon is a big part of that, but is one part of it. And while we think this is a very important step for Amazon to take, to your question, which I think I heard, which is in general for a parent making a purchase in general out there in the marketplace, yes, that they should use caution. They should be mindful of the results of our investigation on this one part of the marketplace, a big one, but one part of it, and also, I would encourage folks, if they feel they are concerns about a product, to notify our office. Is very helpful for us in all the work that we do, but in this area as well, if folks feel there's something that's problematic, to notify my team as we go forward with the efforts to protect children.
Can I ask a science department of college?
Yes, fire away, yeah.
So on one of these items, it's more than 80 times the federal legal limit for lead. What could the impact be to that looks like something a 5 or 6 year old would have, a kindergartner would have, long-term exposure? What are we looking at here?
If you can introduce yourself and maybe summarize the question, would be great.
Sarah Sakarik from the Department of Ecology. I'm the lead scientist for the study. Well, the easy answer is there's no safe level of lead for children's products. Long-term exposure to lead, actually it's a short-term exposure. It is a neurotoxin. It is very potent, and there is no safe limit whatsoever. Cadmium, it's a more systemic toxicity. It affects the liver and the kidney and the lungs. It is just as bad in terms of children and the body burden. Small young children. Not something that we find is appropriate in children's products at any level.
Would it be safe to say that this could potentially save lives?
Yes. Yes. I firmly believe that. I'm not a toxicologist myself, but lead is not safe at all.
Any other questions for folks here or on the phone? Yes.
I may have missed this earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
oh.
this is Ben Romano at Seattle
So
Fence.
welcome right
Can you guys
back.
hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you. I wondered if you could describe the state of Amazon's consumer safety inspection regime for products like this sold by third parties. As you encountered it when you began the investigation, kind of what was in place? It was clearly inadequate to catch these products, but was there anything along these lines in place, or what can you say about that?
So Kelly from my team, I think, is going to take an answer. So just so I'm clear, I think what I'm hearing is, hey, at the time we sort of undertook this investigation, how would we characterize the state of Amazon's protections for these products? Is that what you're looking for?
Correct.
Great. Kelly?
yeah, so from what we understand, based on our investigation, Amazon has third-party selling policies that it has in place. Things that it requires of its third-party sellers, and one of those things is that they can't violate these types of provisions and can't offer these products. And clearly, as our investigation showed, at least with regard to the products that we looked at, again, the children's school supplies, that was falling through the cracks, and that was inadequate. So, as we've said, we think this measure is going to go a long way to improve their safety measures when it comes to these things.
I'll just add to that. I mean, it's, from my perspective, candidly, Amazon wasn't getting the job done, right? I mean, you can't really sugarcoat it. And, what I can say is sort of the more I do this job, the more I appreciate the importance of corporate responsibility for what they do. And so, in this case, we think having these certificates, putting that burden on these third-party sellers is critical, right? Yes, is that an extra burden for those folks? Yes. Is that a hassle for Amazon? I'm sure it is. I get all that. But we're talking about products that kids are chewing on and holding all day long and all night long, right? And so that corporate responsibility is important. And we appreciate that Amazon has agreed to take those steps. But that's what we're looking for in this context across the board, whether you're a bricks and mortar store or you're online. with these products is, the bare minimum will not be enough from my standpoint. Entities need to take ownership of this and the responsibility they have to the people and specifically the children of the state. Yes, you had a question? Go right ahead.
Are you the sole state or federal authority that has got this message out and has taken this action? And if so,
That's a good
are you
question.
expecting federally or states across the nation, other AG offices to amplify your message?
So I'll repeat the question, and my team will need to help me. So are we the first, I mean, maybe two parts, first state to take an action like this with Amazon specifically on these products? And number two, has the federal government taken a step with Amazon on these products? So I definitely don't want to get that wrong. So can someone from my team, so this is Kelly will answer that question. Go ahead, Kelly.
To our knowledge, with specific regard to Amazon, we believe Washington is the first state that has brought this particular problem to their attention. We know other states have looked at children's products in general, including children's jewelry, and have found other issues. And we continue, as Bob said, this work is not done. Our unit's going to keep looking into this and look at other retailers because, frankly, we think that this problem is replicated across the market, and we intend to track that stuff down as well.
And then one thing I'll just add to that is I can speak, I think, more knowledgeably with the state AGs on a case of this importance, which is one that AGs talk, right? We communicate, our teams communicate to each other. When we go to conferences, we often say, hey, well, what are you working on, right? And what should I know about that maybe would apply to my state as well? Some work is state-specific. Others, like this, is not state-specific, obviously, right? In fact, many of these products were sold, but they literally were sold all across the country. So this is one that I think it's fair to say that I'll be communicating with my colleagues directly. I would not be surprised if a situation like this, if I got a phone call from a colleague saying, hey, what was going on there? Can my team talk to your team about what they found? What were the results? That type of thing. So yes, we would anticipate that this would be the kind of case, the kind of investigation that would get some attention. And at the state level specifically, I'm confident other AG offices will be interested in the work that we've done. Any other questions before we wrap up? Anyone on the line? Going once, going twice? If not, I want to thank again. Mai Bellin could not be here, but just so appreciate her leadership at the Department of Ecology. I just want to reemphasize it's a team effort. These investigations are complex. They can be lengthy. Just to do the investigation, to get the products, to test those products, then the negotiations with Amazon itself. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of moving pieces that go into this, but it's worth the effort when you can reach an outcome like this that we think will better protect children's health here in Washington State and across the country. So big thank you to all of our partners on this. Appreciate all of you being here and happy to answer any questions one-on-one afterwards. Thank you so much, everybody.